The morning at Willow Creek Lake unfolded in soft hues. A gentle mist clung to the water, blurring the line between the surface and the distant trees. Cool air carrying the scent of damp earth and pine needles brushed against Elias's face. He moved with a quiet, practiced rhythm, his movements as fluid and natural as the water itself. His fishing rod, worn smooth from years of use, arced gracefully as he cast his line, the lure a tiny spark of silver against the vast expanse of the lake. Decades of knowing this place were etched into his hands in the way he adjusted the reel, in the subtle shift of his body as he felt the almost imperceptible tug of the current. A low hum resonated from him, a melody only the waking birds and the whispering reeds truly understood. This was more than a routine, it was a communion. Then the crisp sound of footsteps on the path broke the spell. A figure in the stark green of a park ranger approached, her posture stiff and unyielding. No friendly greeting softened her arrival, no explanation preceded her words. Her voice, when it came, was clipped and abrupt, a stark contrast to the serenity of the morning. "Sir, fishing is no longer permitted here. You are required to leave immediately." The words struck Elias with the force of an unexpected wave. He turned, his gaze shifting from the tranquil water to the ranger's resolute face. Leave? This lake, a constant presence in his life. He opened his mouth, a question forming on his lips, a plea for understanding. But the ranger's hand gestured sharply towards a newly erected sign, its white surface and bold red letters a harsh intrusion on the natural landscape. No fishing allowed. Disbelief washed over Elias's weathered features. He had always been a respectful visitor, a silent guardian of the shoreline. He had shared his knowledge with generations of young anglers, his quiet guidance a gentle lesson in patience and respect for nature. A profound ache settled in his chest, a sense of injustice at being so summarily dismissed from a place that felt more like home than any dwelling. He tried again, his voice a low, bewildered rumble. "But I've been coming here for 40 years. The ranger remained unmoved, repeating her instructions with a cold finality that left no room for appeal. Defeated, the weight of his years pressing down on him, Elias began to reel in his line. The familiar motions now felt foreign, tainted with a deep and bitter sadness. He carefully packed his worn tackle box, each click and snap a mournful echo of his expulsion. As he turned to depart, his gaze lingered one last time on the shimmering expanse of Willow Creek Lake, a sanctuary now inexplicably forbidden. Unseen by Elias, a small, intricately carved wooden fish lay nestled amongst the smooth stones where his stool had rested. The ranger's eyes flickered down to it, a brief, unreadable expression passing across her face before she turned away, the silence of the morning now heavy with an unspoken question and a lingering sense of wrongness. The peace was shattered, replaced by an emptiness where Elias had been, and a disquiet that hung heavy over the still water. Days drifted into a week, the stark white, "No fishing allowed" signs now a permanent fixture along the shoreline of Willow Creek Lake. A disquiet settled over the community, whispers circulating about Elias's absence from his usual spot. Some spoke of new regulations, others of a possible unmentioned incident. A young park security guard, Sarah, arrived to patrol the area, her duties clear: enforce the new rules. She was diligent, committed to her role, but also possessed a sharp eye and an inherent curiosity that went beyond the letter of the law. Her patrols began as routine, checking for violations, ensuring compliance. But Willow Creek Lake, usually vibrant with the sounds of nature, felt different. An unnerving stillness hung in the air, a sense of something unseen, something subtly amiss. Sarah noticed details that seemed out of place. Near the water's edge, she found a set of faint footprints, too light and too irregular to belong to casual park visitors. They seemed to appear and disappear, as if their maker had moved with deliberate caution. She also observed patches of reeds, disturbed and slightly flattened, as if something had been moved or hidden within their dense growth. Initially, she attributed these anomalies to natural causes, the wind, perhaps a small animal. But a nagging feeling persisted, a sense that these were not isolated incidents. She remembered the old fisherman, Elias, being told to leave. His quiet dignity, the hurt in his eyes, had left a mark on her. He didn't strike her as someone who would disregard the rules. Her curiosity about his sudden ban grew. She started to pay closer attention, her patrols evolving from enforcement to observation. She noticed the way the sunlight filtered through the trees, creating shifting patterns on the water, the way the birdsong seemed to pause in certain areas. Then she found it. A small, meticulously carved wooden bird, resting on a weathered wooden bench. It was similar in style to a fish she vaguely recalled the ranger picking up from Elias's spot. The carving was intricate, detailed, suggesting a deliberate act, a form of silent communication. This discovery heightened her unease. The footprints, the disturbed reeds, the carvings, they formed a pattern, a subtle narrative unfolding beneath the surface of the seemingly tranquil lake. Sarah began to suspect that the fishing ban was a facade, a cover for something else, something hidden within the restricted area. The lake held a secret, and she was determined to uncover it. Sarah's patrols transformed into a focused investigation. She meticulously documented the unusual signs she encountered. Each faint set of footprints was photographed, their patterns analyzed. The disturbed reeds were carefully examined, their positions noted on a map of the lake's edge. The carved wooden figures, now numbering several, were catalogued, their designs compared. She found a small wooden turtle hidden beneath a cluster of ferns, its shell meticulously detailed. These weren't random objects, they were deliberate markers, each one adding to the growing puzzle. Driven by her mounting unease, Sarah began to discreetly inquire about the fishing ban. She spoke with longtime park employees, their faces etched with confusion and concern. They remembered Elias, his quiet presence, his deep connection to the lake. No one could recall any infraction, any reason for such a sudden and absolute prohibition. Some expressed worry, wondering where the old fisherman had gone, his absence leaving a noticeable void. Sarah also observed the head ranger, the woman who had delivered the ban to Elias. Her demeanor seemed strained, her eyes darting nervously towards the lake. She avoided direct questions, her answers vague and evasive. Sarah noticed the ranger making hushed phone calls, her voice low and guarded. This behavior fueled Sarah's suspicion. The official explanation for the ban felt increasingly hollow, a thin veil concealing something more complex and potentially troubling. Sarah began to suspect that Elias's removal was inextricably linked to whatever was happening within the restricted zone. She decided to venture beyond the well-trodden paths, to explore the less accessible areas of Willow Creek Lake. Using her knowledge of the park's terrain, she searched for clues in the dense undergrowth, the hidden corners of the shoreline. Her persistence paid off. She discovered a narrow, almost invisible trail, winding its way through thick foliage, away from the main path. The trail was faint, suggesting infrequent use, but the disturbed leaves and broken twigs indicated recent passage. This discovery confirmed her suspicions. Someone was operating in secret within the banned area, their activities deliberately concealed. The carved wooden figures, she realized, were not just artistic expressions. They were breadcrumbs, guiding someone or something to specific locations. The mystery deepened, and Sarah knew she was on the verge of uncovering something significant, something that lay hidden beneath the seemingly tranquil surface of Willow Creek Lake. Following the barely visible trail, Sarah moved with caution, the undergrowth thick and silent around her. The trail twisted and turned, leading her deeper into the secluded heart of Willow Creek Lake. Finally, the trees opened, revealing a hidden cove shielded from the main body of water by a dense screen of foliage. What Sarah found there was far beyond her initial expectations. It wasn't illegal fishing or any ordinary violation. Instead, Elias was there, not fishing, but tending to a small group of injured wild animals. A young bird with a broken wing lay nestled in his gentle hands, its tiny chest rising and falling weakly. A fox, its leg caught in a cruel snare, whimpered softly as Elias carefully worked to free it. A turtle, its shell cracked and bleeding, lay nearby, its eyes dull with pain. Elias moved with a quiet, practiced tenderness, applying makeshift bandages, offering water from a small bowl. The carved wooden figures, Sarah now understood, were not mere decorations. They were markers, each one indicating the location of an animal in need, a silent plea for help. The unbelievable truth struck Sarah with a profound force. Elias wasn't banned for breaking the rules. He was banned because his presence threatened to expose something else, something hidden and harmful. Just then, voices echoed through the trees. Sarah froze, her senses heightened. She recognized the sharp, authoritative tone of the head ranger, accompanied by two individuals in plain clothes, their demeanor suggesting power and secrecy. They were inspecting something near the water's edge, their conversation hushed and urgent. Sarah realized with a chilling certainty that the fishing ban wasn't about protecting the lake. It was a cover-up, a way to keep people away from whatever these individuals were concealing. And Elias, in his quiet way, had stumbled upon their operations and become a threat. The confrontation that followed would determine not only Elias's fate, but also the future of Willow Creek Lake. Sarah, armed with the shocking truth, faced a crucial decision. Where did her loyalties lie? What was she willing to risk to expose the hidden activities and ensure justice for the old fisherman and the vulnerable creatures he was protecting? The silence of Willow Creek Lake was about to be shattered, the tranquility replaced by a revelation that would change everything.